Hello friends, once again welcome to Diksha Classroom. This is a 14th day of Diksha Mission JRF. Okay, we are into the 14th day of Diksha Mission JRF. As of now, we have done almost 13 sessions in which we have discussed different topics from mathematical reasoning, logical reasoning, environment, IT, etc. I hope you have gone through all those videos. All those videos are available in our YouTube channel Diksha Classroom, and we also have gone through different question papers, and we'll be going through many more question papers and many more topics in the coming days. For the time being, in this video we are going to discuss a new topic from environment. So before going to the topic, I hope you haven't forgotten regarding your task, that is the task number 14. Okay, so you have the task number 14, in which you have to do particular question paper. The link for the question paper is given in the description. At the same time, the answer key for yesterday's task or task number 13 is also present in the description. If you want to receive your task directly to your WhatsApp, also answer key is also directly to your WhatsApp. You can join Diksha free paper on WhatsApp broadcast by sending join to 9847478690. The link for joining the paper one broadcast as well as a phone number, everything is given in the description. At the same time, if you are interested in utilizing various Diksha online courses like mega practice course, paper one course, etc. during this time, you can visit our website www.dikshaclassroom for more details. And also, if you are interested in having a mock test, a free paper one mock test in which you can analyze your statistics, that means you can attend two tests. Also, you can analyze your statistics like rank, mark, topic wise mark, in which topic you are weak, in which topic you are strong, etc. out of the 10 topic, and also an option to compare with the topper. So you can download Diksha learning app. Okay, Diksha learning app from Android Play Store as well as App Store. The link is also given in the description, and you can just register and you can try for the free mock test, so that you will be clear regarding what's your existing status of preparation, and you can make necessary changes based on that. So that's all about your task at Diksha Classroom, mock test, etc. And we are going to the today's session. In today's session, we are discussing a topic from environment, that is renewable energy resources. So friends, let's go to the topic. So friends, in this video, we are going to discuss a very important topic from our environment. So in this one, we are discussing about renewable energy resources. So it's a very important topic with regards to our syllabus. A lot of questions have been asked in the past years from this topic, since we know renewable energy are the most important source for our future without having any harmful effect on the environment. So let's go to the topic. Firstly, let's try to categorize, or let's try to differentiate between what is non-renewable and what is renewable energy. So we can say that renewable energies are those energy resources which are renewable, which means which can be replenished. So we can say simply natural resources that can be replaced and reused by nature. Okay, that can be replaced and reused by nature are termed as renewable. Okay, so natural resources that cannot be replaced. So just opposite of renewable energy, natural resources that cannot be replaced are termed as non-renewable. So you have renewable energy as well as non-renewable energy. Renewable energies are those which can be replenished and reused by the environment or the nature. At the same time, those renewable energy which cannot be replaced are known as non-renewable energies. Okay, so at the same time, you will get a bit confused. What are different examples of renewable energy? We say like water, solar energy, geothermal energy, etc. At the same time, non-renewable energy, we have examples as fossil fuels, coal, oil, natural gas, etc. So you may feel We can also replenish coal. Okay, we can also replenish petroleum because everything is produced from fossils. So we have a lot of humans, we have a lot of animals, a lot of plants, etc., which are getting converted into fossils and which will be later converted into fossil fuels. So there is a chance of replenishing with regards to fossil fuel also. But the issue is that renewable resources are the main difference between that one. The renewable resources are replaced through natural process at a rate that is equal to or greater than the rate of its depletion or rate of its use, which means definitely both renewable and non-renewable energy can be reused or replenished. Okay, but renewable energy resources, the replenishing process or the replacing process happens at a rate that is equal to or greater than the rate at which it is used. So the rate of replenishing or the rate of replacing will be equal to or greater than the rate at which they are used. So there is no need of getting worried regarding the depletion or the usage. But at the same time, when it comes to non-renewable resources, they are exhaustible and they can't be extracted with a faster rate than usage, which means they can be extracted faster than the rate at which they are formed. Okay, so which means they are utilized at a faster rate than it is formed. For example, in a year, if suppose just an example, just to understand the statistics. So if a year, if we produce 1 million ton renewable energy, non-renewable energy resources, we are normally utilizing 2 million ton non-renewable energy resources. So we want to utilize the year before's produced amount also. So in renewable energy, the replenishing or replacing take place at a faster rate or a greater rate than that of usage. But in non-renewable energy, it doesn't take place in such a way. Okay, so that's why we have fossil fuels, petroleum, etc., as an example for non-renewable energy. Okay, uh, so now just let's see why renewable energy is becoming more important in the life or in our times. Mainly, we can't depend more on fossil fuels. That's the main reason. We can't depend more on fossil fuels because fossil fuels do have a life expectancy. Okay, the human has to survive, the world has to survive. But if we continue to begin depending upon the fossil fuels, one day they will finish. Okay, one day they will end, so the world can't move on with that energy for a long time. Okay, so that's the main reason our focus is being shifted from non-renewable energy to renewable energy. At the same time, when we analyze the environmental aspect or effect across the world, we can say that burning fossil fuels has increased the atmospheric pollution. So fossil fuels also increase the atmospheric pollution, which has further caused in the resulted the greenhouse effect and global warming. Okay, so the carbon stored in fossil fuel will be released as carbon dioxide, which is one of the major greenhouse gas, and this has led to the greenhouse effect and global warming. Okay, so this is also a reason why we should shift our focus from renewable non-renewable energy or fossil fuels to renewable energy, because there is a chance of finishing those resources. There is a what's when we observe our around, there is an increasing atmospheric pollution. At the same time, the carbon dioxide stored in fossil fuel is being released as a carbon being stored in fossil fuel is released as a carbon dioxide, which when they're burned leads to release of carbon dioxide, which is a major greenhouse gas that will be resulting in greenhouse effect and global warming. So this is another reason, or this is another major reason why we shouldn't depend for fossil fuels for long. So the next aspect, we will be discussing different non-renewable energy resources. uh, the first aspect that we are discussing is solar energy. We have different renewable energy resources like solar energy, hydrothermal energy, geothermal energy, tidal energy. Okay, there are many sources we have. So firstly, we will be discussing about solar energy, one of the most important, okay, most important renewable energy resource. I hope you know what's happening in solar energy. When we comes to nuclear energy, we will be clear regarding the concept of nuclear fission and fusion. Okay, we have two concepts, nuclear fission and fusion. So in the fusion aspect, we have Two late nuclei combine to form a heavy nuclei in the nuclear fusion. In the nuclear fission, we have a heavy nuclei split into two light nuclei plus energy. In nuclear fusion, you have two heavy light nuclei combined to form a heavy nuclei plus energy. So this fusion is being happening in sun, and this fission is being happening in our nuclear energy, our nuclear reactors. We'll be discussing that in detail when it comes to nuclear reactor. So what happens in sun is that there is a combination of hydrogen, and this hydrogen combined to form helium. Okay, so hydrogen is combined to form helium, and the formation of helium is along with the release of a large amount of energy. So when the helium is formed, a large amount of energy is also being released. So which result in the so-called light and heat energy that we receive from the sun. So that is all about the scientific process behind solar energy. Remember, solar energy is one of the most important energy resource in the world as of now. So we will see some of the major uses. We'll be discussing the uses. I hope you know many of the uses. I will be discussing here only the major uses as of now. In the future there may be different. Okay, as of now we definitely don't said regarding solar energy is used for running our vehicles for the time being, okay, in a massive scale, but definitely in future it will be also going to happen. So we have major uses of solar energy. As of now, we have heating of water or water heating, then space heating, then you have electrical energy generation. So these are the three major uses of solar energy as of now. It's used for water heaters. It may be using in our homes or our nearby surrounding also, in which there will be a water heater placed in the terrace, okay, which will be providing energy to the water, which will get heat. So heating water is one of the major important aspect with regard to solar energy. Then you have space heating. Okay, so it's basically used in European countries or in cold region countries in which there will be a very cold or a very low temperature in the house or the rooms. So when you utilize the concept of global greenhouse effect, we'll be discussing in detail in climate change and other aspect. You can utilize the concept of greenhouse effect so as to maintain a minimum temperature. Okay, a minimum temperature inside the rooms. So that's what we say as space heating. Then next we have the generating electrical energy. The solar energy is also being used for generation of electrical energy. Okay, generation of electrical energy is also being done by utilizing the solar energy. So these are the major uses of solar energy. Then we'll be moving to the next aspect related to solar energy, that is solar technologies. Okay, solar technologies, it's basically the application of what we have discussed now, just the application of that one. We have the daylighting. Okay, daylighting concept. We have the passive solar heating, what I have told before, that is maintaining a minimum temperature. Then we have concentrating solar thermal. Okay, so a lot of many solar panels will be placed one by one, and the solar energy will be concentrated to a certain point in which we can have a large amount of solar energy stored. Then we have photovoltaics. Okay, then we have photovoltaics. So these are some of the solar technologies being used as of now. So daylighting means lighting for the day purpose. Passive solar heating means maintaining a minimum temperature. Concentrating means getting all the solar energy to a particular area utilizing thousands of solar cells. Then we have photovoltaics, in which direct conversion of solar energy is being done to electrical energy. Then we have passive solar technologies, what we have already discussed. Passive solar technology, it's all about utilizing the solar energy for maintaining a minimum temperature inside the house. For example, this house may be located in an area of a very low temperature, or a cold region. So when there is a glass house, or when there is a glass, what happens is that as a part of this glass there will be a maintenance of what we can say greenhouse effect. Okay, greenhouse effect will be there, which means the temperature will be increased within the room. So that will help the those person who are living in that particular home with balanced temperature that will definitely help for their survival. So this is known as passive solar. These are some of the examples of houses using passive solar technology. So now we are going to discuss about the advantages of solar energy. Basically, we'll be discussing the most important four advantages. So the first most important advantages of solar energy is that it's clean, which means it doesn't produce any pollutant as a byproduct. We have said that with regards to non-renewable energy resources, especially fossil fuel, the most important issue is that since they have carbon content in it, they produce carbon dioxide as a byproduct, which result in greenhouse effect, which further result in global warming, etc. So solar energy basically produces no harmful products. Okay, no pollutant is being produced, so it can be compared as a clean energy. Next point is that next advantage of solar energy is it's sustainable, which means it can be used for a longer duration. Since it's available throughout the world, it's highly sustainable. Okay, it's highly reliable. It's available for a long period of time, and also it can be used for a variety of purposes. Next we have it's free of cost. Okay, solar energy is free of cost. Solar energy free of cost means I know you will be thinking that for solar cells and everything you need a lot of money. Yeah, definitely you need a lot of money, but here free of cost means you don't have to give any money to the sun for providing that energy. That's it. Or simply once you have the technologies and other cells, further you establish, there will not be any further cost. Okay, any further cost, so it's comparatively free of cost. Then we have it can be used to provide electricity to remote places. Okay, it's a very important aspect because there are many areas throughout the world where the direct electricity through electric grids and transformer lines, etc., will be very difficult. But since we know solar energy is present throughout the world, solar energy is present everywhere, we can utilize solar energy for providing electricity to such remote area. So it's a very important aspect. So we have the basic four aspect. It's a clean, it's a sustainable source, it's free of cost, and it can be even used to provide electricity to remote places. So that's important advantages. Now we'll be moving related to the disadvantages of solar energy. So basically the important disadvantages are it is inefficient. The efficiency of solar energy is very less. It's almost only 30%, while geothermal some cases it's about 80%. We'll be discussing about that. So compared to the efficiency, it's very less. And also the initial establishment or the capital cost is costly equipment, as well as there is a high maintenance cost. So this equipment requires a high maintenance cost. So this can be said as the two reasons why it's still considered as an expensive method. So remember, solar energy is a very large source. If we are properly possible to utilize the energy, it will act as an energy for the future. But the issue is all about expense. But remember, expense is all about a matter of time. Okay, cost, cheap, everything is a matter of time. Remember what was the cost of 1 GB of data 2 or 3 years before, and what's the cost now? So remember, it's all about cost, is all about matter of time. So let's hope in the future it will become cheap, so most of the energy crisis of the world will be resolved, because we know solar energy is energy that produce energy to all the trees, all the animals, all the humans, everything in a major way. So if we are able to utilize the heat and the light of that energy to further electricity form, it will be very useful. So these are the two disadvantages. Then we have the last disadvantage, that it's a partly available, which means since our efficiency is very less, it's available in the daytime only, not in the night time. So if you entirely depend upon the solar energy, it will be difficult to have the energy in the night. Definitely, if we can develop certain solar devices that are highly and technologically advanced, and once it's technologically advanced, if we can produce electricity and we can store it till the night, definitely that will be useful. Okay, that will be useful, but that technology is yet to be developed. So compared to that aspect, it is available in the part time only. So these are the disadvantages. It's inefficient, costly equipment, part time, high maintenance cost, etc. So friends, that's all about solar energy. Next we'll be moving to the next source of renewable energy. So after solar energy, next we are going to discuss tidal energy. Okay, we are discussing the tidal energy. So let's see what tidal energy is all about. So we will see what tide is before discussing about what tidal energy is. Okay, so I hope you would have studied in your biology classes what tide or low tide, high tide, extra is. It have been studied in our geography classes, not the biology classes. So tide will are the rise and fall of sea level due to combined effect of the sun and rotation of the earth. So in every day there will be a rise and fall of sea levels which happens due to the combined effect of sun and rotation of the earth. Okay, so due to the rotation of the earth and the effect of the sun, there will be a combined withdrawal and coming back of the water level. So high tide will be this. Remember, these both are same places. So when high tide, okay, there will be rise of water. So at least to this level, just to understand this level. So when there is a low tide, there will be withdrawal of the water. There will be no water here. Okay, so this process is known as tide. And next we can see what is tidal energy is. What is all about tidal energy is. Remember, other than nuclear energy and solar energy, all energy resources works based on the production of electrical energy. So how this electrical energy is being produced? In a, whether it's a hydroelectric energy or whether it's a geothermal energy, whether it's a wind energy, whether it's a tide energy, in every energy aspect we use a concept of Faraday's electromagnetic induction and another aspect, which means there will be a turbine will be there. When the turbine rotates in the magnetic field, there will be electromagnetic induction or there will be electricity, and this electricity will be transferred or it will be stored in transformers, electric grids, etc. So this is a process that being used, whether it's a tidal energy, whether it's a wave energy, whether it's a geothermal energy, whether it's a hydrothermal energy, whether it's a wind energy, etc. So what will be happening in the tide? So in the areas where usually tide occurs in a heavy scale, there will be turbines. Okay, turbines will be located. So when the tide comes in, these turbines will be rotated. So when these turbines are rotating in a magnetic field, I hope you would be remembering your physics study. In a magnetic field, okay, when there is a rotation, there is electromagnetic induction as per Faraday, which will result in the production of electricity. So when the turbine rotates, there will be electromagnetic induction, and also there will be electricity that will be transferred to the transformers and stored in the transformers and moved to the grid. Okay, move to the grid. So this is a process that's being used in tidal energy. Turbines will be placed in those areas in which there is a high chance of tide, and this turbine rotation will be leads to electromagnetic induction or simply production of electricity. This electricity will be transferred to electronic grid, which may be either stored or moved to those areas where it will be used. So this is a tidal energy. So the concept used by tidal energy is that millions of gallons of water flow into shore during tidal flows. So this large amount of water can be utilized for the rotation of the tidal energy. Larger the tidal influence or larger the tide, the greater will be the displacement of water, and there is a chance of more potential energy, or simply when there is a greater tidal influence, greater amount of electricity can be produced. Okay, so this is some of the pictures showing the tidal energy concepts you can see. So these are areas of tide. There will be turbines, there will be rotation of turbines, there will be storage of electricity. Now let's go to the advantages and disadvantages of tidal energy. So let's see what are the important advantages and what are the important disadvantages of using tidal power or using tidal energy. So we have mainly five important aspects regarding to tidal energy advantage. The first aspect is predictable source of green energy during a lifetime. Okay, so it's a predictable source, and normally in a sea, in a particular region, there is a chance of heavy tides. It happens regularly. The chance of stopping it is very, very, very less. So it shows tidal energy gives us a predictable source of green, means a reusable environment friendly energy. So tidal energy gives us a predictable source of green energy. So that's the first aspect. It's a predictable source of green energy. Then we have, after predictable source of green energy, we have it produces no greenhouse gases or other waste. Okay, it needs no fuel. Simple. One of the major quality of renewable energy is this one. It produces no side effects, no pollutants, no greenhouse gas or any other waste, and also there is no need of any fuel for its working. Okay, so there is no need of any fuel for its working, and also it doesn't produce any pollutant. Okay, that's it. Next, compared to solar energy, once it's established, even though it's a bit costly to establishment, it's not expensive to maintain. So it's not very expensive to maintain a tidal energy faculty facility. That's the third advantages of tidal energy. Then we are moving to the fourth one. Compared to solar energy, tidal energy has a very high efficiency. Okay, the tidal energy efficiency is almost 80% as of now, converting the potential energy of water into electricity. While with regards to solar energy, we have around 30 and above 30 as a what we can say efficiency. Okay, efficiency. And also next aspect or the final advantage is that vertical axis tidal generators. Okay, so that's the latest type of tidal generators may be joined together in a series to create a tidal fence capable of generating electricity on a scale comparable to the largest fossil fuel based hydroelectric and nuclear energy generation facilities. So which means if we have different axis tidal generators in a series to create a tidal fence, it may produce energy similar to that of a large existing fossil fuel based or hydroelectric based or nuclear energy based generators. So which means if you are utilizing the concept of tidal fence, if being a many vertical axis tidal generators are produced and they are joined in a series, then definitely there is a chance for utilizing tidal energy as a major source of energy for any particular country. So these are the important advantages of tidal energy. Then let's see what are the important disadvantages of tidal power. Okay, so first aspect is, as I discussed before, even though its maintenance cost is low, its initial establishment, especially across an estuary, is very high. Okay, so it is very high for initial establishment. At the same time, okay, it's very expensive. There may be change to the environment, upstreams, downstream, etc. in those areas in which it is built. So there are mainly two disadvantages within the first point. What we have said, it's a bit expensive, especially in some places like estuary, and also there may be some environmental changes which effect has to be studied in a long term span. Okay, so environment may be changed for many miles upstream and downstream. Okay, so then we have, it provide power around 10 hours each day. Okay, when the tide is actually moving in or out. So again it's a part time. Okay, again it's a part time. It can be set as a long time one. So again it's a part time, so it's another disadvantage of that one. Then third disadvantage is similarly what we have said. Third and fourth is what we have already discussed in point one, and existing ecosystem would be heavily altered. Okay, so heavily altered means there will be a change in the ecosystem due to the establishment of tidal facilities, and there may be change in the existing species balance, species amount, etc., which may have some harmful effect in the future. And finally we have tidal power schemes have a high capital cost that we have already discussed. Tidal energy is having a high capital cost. Okay, so it's very expensive in the initial stage. In the initial establishment of tidal energy is very expensive. So after solar energy and tidal energy, we are moving to the geothermal energy. Okay, let's see what geothermal energy is all about. Geothermal energy is the heat inside the earth. So we can say geothermal energy is a heat inside the earth, which means a lot of heat will be present inside the earth due to many geographical processes, and this heat can be utilized for production of electricity. Okay, this heat can be utilized for the production of electricity. So simply we can define geothermal as, geothermal comes from the Greek word for earth and hot. So geothermal energy means heat inside the earth. Okay, geothermal energy is the energy produced by utilizing heat inside the earth. So that's what we have, geothermal energy. Then I hope you will be knowing regarding the different layers of the earth. So geothermal energy comes from different layers of earth. So we have in the outside there is a earth crust. Okay, we have earth crust or the shell of earth, where you can say, where you can see different oceans, mountains, etc. So this region where you can see different oceans, mountains, etc. can be said as the crust. Then after the crust you have the mantle. It's a mixture of rock and magma. Okay, so this is a mantle which is a mixture of rock and magma. Okay, so again inside that, okay, again inside that, basically we have the core. Okay, we have the core. In the core we have the inner core. This one is a inner core and this one is a outer core. So we have both inner core and outer core. And the outer core of iron and rock is so hot that the rock is in molten state, because this region will be very hot. So we'll be having the rock in the molten state. So this liquid rock is known as magma. Okay, so we have here very high temperature and the rock in the liquid state. So this rock will be known as the magma, and the center will be having a molten iron. Here molten iron will be there, iron core. Here there will be molten rock, everything. So we have the crust, we have the mantle, we have the inner core, and we have the outer core. So now let's see, okay, how we will be utilizing this heat. So we have studied in the inner core and the outer core, there is a high heat, molten magma and iron is present. We'll be utilizing this heat, which is very high in temperature, to produce electricity. So that's a concept that we'll be using in geothermal energy. So let's see, how do we use geothermal energy, or how do we use the heat inside the earth to produce energy. So we can, the simple principle is again the rotation of the turbine. Here what we'll be using, power plants will be using steam from geothermal wells to make electricity. Okay, geothermal well steam will be utilized for producing what we can say electricity. So suppose this is a geothermal reservoir which have a very high amount of heat with the molten states, as we have already discussed. So this heat will be used to vaporize the water from this particular well. Okay, so when this vapor is this water is heated or water is vaporized, we'll be getting a very high heat hot steam. Okay, so this steam will be utilized to rotate the turbine. As we have already discussed, whether it's a tidal energy or the wave energy or the wind energy or hydroelectric energy or geothermal energy, the basic aspect related to production of electricity is rotation of turbine. So here what we'll be doing, from the utilizing the heat in the earth surface or the geothermal heat, we'll be heating the water from the well, which will be provided and which will be converted to steam, and this steam will be used to spin turbine. Okay, so the turbine spin will be electromagnetic induction and other scientific processes happens, and it will produce the electricity. So this is a simple process how we'll be using what we can say the geothermal heat for production of electricity. So how we'll be finding, next aspect that we are discussing is how we'll be finding geothermal energy sources. Okay, so we can say, or we can see, analyzing the different geographical features, the most active geothermal energy resources are usually found where earthquakes, volcanoes, hot springs, geysers, volcanoes are concentrated. So we'll be studying different geographical features in different areas across the world, and usually geothermal resources are mainly present in those areas. There is a chance of earthquake, volcano, hot spring, geysers, etc. So we can say volcanoes, it's some sort of geothermal energy explosion. Okay, explosion. So it depends. So we'll be analyzing those studies or those places where usually earthquakes, volcanoes, hot springs, geysers, etc. is present, and we'll be studying that, and based on the financial and economic and technical viability, we'll be utilizing those places for production of geothermal energy. And now let's see what are the important advantage of geothermal energy. So we have geothermal energy, it's clean and cheap. Okay, it's clean and cheap. No fuel is burnt in geothermal energy, so there is no air pollution. Similar to our tidal energy and solar energy, there is no fuel is burned, so there is no air pollution. Then the steam is turned into water and put back into the earth. Okay, what we happen, the steam is turned into water and put back into earth, so there is no loss of water itself here. First of all, we have converted the water using the heat from the geothermal resources to the steam, and this steam is used for the rotation of the turbine. Once the turbines are rotated, okay, once the turbines are rotated, the steam is further cooled and it is converted back into water and it's put back to earth, which means nothing is lost. Okay, even though water is a renewable energy resource, nothing is lost in this process. Next, we have geothermal energy is cheap. Okay, so it is comparatively very cheap. The new power plants or old power plants, it will be very cheap. So geothermal energy is very cheap compared to other energy resources also. So these are some of the advantages of geothermal energy, and which means it's a very cheap and non-polluting renewable energy resources. But when we comes to the disadvantages or the disadvantages or demerits of geothermal energy, we can see that it's not available everywhere. Okay, we can say that it's not available everywhere. It is present in some specific geographical areas only. Okay, it's present in some specific geographical areas only. As we have already discussed, it's normally present in those areas where there are volcanic eruptions, there are earthquakes, there are geysers, there are hot springs, etc. So it cannot be said as a reliable source of energy everywhere. So suppose you have a place X, you want to produce a lot of electricity, you can say that, or you can choose geothermal energy automatically. Okay, you can't choose solar energy automatically because solar energy is present in almost everywhere across the world, but geothermal energy is not present in the same way. So first of all, you want to study the geography, you want to study the geographical features, the inside the earth, the possibility, the viability, everything is important. So the disadvantage is that it's not present everywhere. Okay, it's not present everywhere. That's one of the major important issue, and it can't be said as a reliable one in a long term. Okay, you can't feed a country or a state depending entirely on geothermal energy. It can be said as a supplementary source of electricity. It can't be utilized as a major source of electricity. So it's another important aspect, negative aspect when it comes to related to this what we can say geothermal energy. It will be limited, it will not be available everywhere, and it's of all the renewable energy resources, we can say it's the most limited one. Okay, it's the most limited one compared to other aspects, even though in some cases where it produces large amount of energy, but comparing the overall system or overall availability of different renewable energy resources, we can say geothermal energy is less. So that's all about geothermal energy. Now we'll be going to the next form of energy. So friends, after geothermal energy, we are moving to the hydroelectric energy. So let's go. One of the most important source of electricity in our country, especially India. Okay, so let's see what hydroelectric energy is. So it's simple. It's a most important source of energy that being utilized in our country. Previously, they have asked question in the exam regarding which is the most important source of electricity in India. Remember, the first source is not hydro. The first source is thermal. First source is thermal. After thermal, major source in India is hydro. Regarding the order and everything we'll be discussing in current affairs or orders or statistics related to environment, we'll be doing a different video. So in India, the most important source of electricity is thermal, coal. Okay, and after thermal, we have the most important source of electricity as hydro. So hydro energy or hydroelectric energy by creation of dam and other aspect is the most important source of energy in India after thermal energy. So let's see again what happens here. The same principle, the rotation of the turbine. So what happens? This will be a dam. Okay, this will be the water reservoir. You will be having water to a particular level, and the water will be moved through a particular channel. Okay, okay, particular channel, and there will be a turbine. Okay, there will be a turbine. Due to the force of this flowing water, okay, due to the force of this flowing water, potential energy and other forms of energy, there will be rotation of turbines. Okay, as a result of the rotation of turbine, what happens? there will be the production of electricity, and this production of electricity will be stored in the generator or later transferred into the transformer, final to the power lines, etc. So what happens in hydel power plant, there will be reservoir of water, the dams. When the water flows through a particular channel in which there is a turbine, there will be rotation of turbines result in the production of electricity that will be generated. Further, it will be transferred to transformers, then it will be moved back to power lines from which our homes and everything will be getting electricity. So this is all about the basic structure of hydel power plants. So again, hydel power plants also require certain demands or certain conditions so as to be an effective one. So it will be generally located near the rivers. Okay, normally hydel power plants will be located, hydel, it's all about water body, so it will be located generally near the rivers. Then we will be having dams with regards to that one. There may be some miniature or small form of hydroelectricity in the streams also, and also we need high pressure water sources are important. Normally we don't have an hydroelectricity in the seas or oceans because we need high pressure water sources. This is usually present in when we place a dam and other structure with a slant. Okay, so this is some of the conditions with regards to the location of hydel power plant. There is a scope for dam, should be near a river, there should be chance of streams, high pressure should be there. Okay, some of the hydroelectric power plants in India, some of them important. So that's hydroelectric power plants. There are many advantages. Easily advantages like again cheap, no pollutant is produced, no carbon dioxide is produced, no pollution, no environmental degradation, etc. But there are certain disadvantages also, because as we have said regarding to geothermal energy, hydroelectric energy can be produced only related to rivers, dams, etc. So production of a construction of a dam and river may not be possible everywhere. Okay, may not be possible everywhere across a particular region or country. And also the construction of dam is said by many environmentalists as a lot of creating biological and biodiversity degradation and destruction. So that's also an important issue regarding the hydroelectric energy. So but most of them we would have heard already in previous what we have studied from school and colleges, etc. So that's all about hydroelectric energy. We'll be moving to the next form of energy, that is the wind energy. Okay, so we'll be moving to the next form of energy, that's a wind energy. So let's see wind energy. Again, I hope you know what winds are. Winds are caused by the uneven heating of the atmosphere by the sun. Okay, the rotation of the earth, the irregularity of the earth's surface, everything is causing winds. Winds are simply the moving air. Okay, the air that moves can be said as a winds. So the term wind energy or wind power describe the process by which wind is used to generate mechanical power of electricity. Okay, so in wind energy we will be utilizing mechanical power, and also the power from the wind will be utilized to generate electricity. Okay, so wind energy is used for in wind energy, wind is used to produce electricity using the same principle of rotation of the turbine. We'll be having a windmill. Okay, in the windmill again there will be direct, okay, you would have seen this is a windmill. Okay, this is a windmill. In the windmill there will be just a minute, direct rotation of the windmill will be there, which will result in the again rotation of the turbine or the rotation of the blades, which will result in the production of electricity through electromagnetic induction that will be stored in the generator, which may be further converted or further transferred to what we say transformers or power lines. So it's a basic principle of producing electricity is same in wind energy as of that of hydroelectric energy. Utilizing in hydroelectric energy, utilizing the force of water, there will be rotation of turbines which result in the production of electricity. But when it comes to wind energy, there will be a rotation of turbines based using the force of the wind, which will result in the production of electricity, which will be further stored. So there are different types of windmills. We have small windmills that produce less than 10 kilowatt of electricity. It can be produced in homes, farms, remote application, remote areas, etc. Then we have intermediate, which will be producing 10 to 250 kilowatt of power. It's usually in villages, hybrid system and distributed power. And we have the major aspect, large windmills, which will be producing 660 kilowatt to 2 plus megawatt. And it will be central station of wind farms, again community wind. It will be in a large area. Okay, it will be produced in from a large area. So this is a size and application. And location of wind farms, similar to reverse, location of wind farms is also important. Similar to hydroelectric electricity, location of wind farms is also important. So it can be located only in mountains or hilly areas. We have to have a mountain or hilly areas for the establishment of windmills. And it can be also built even seasides or oceans where there is a present of large amount of wind. Normally in sea breeze and other aspects will be having wind, so it can be also utilized for the construction of wind farms. This is a just, you can see a 3D view image of a wind turbine. Okay, what happens inside a windmill. And so advantages of wind power, will be moving to the last aspect. Important advantages is again similar to renewable energy. Most of the renewable energy, no byproduct is produced. Okay, next, even though wind turbine is very tall, when we go to ground, it take only a small plot of land. Okay, a very small area is required for the establishment of a large windmill. Okay, the rest, the size, everything will be in space. And next, remote areas that are not connected to the electricity power grid can use wind turbines to produce their own supply. Similar to solar energy, wind energy can be utilized in remote areas for the production of electricity. Okay, and also, and the last one, wind turbine are available in a variety, a range of sizes, which means depending upon your situation and the wind normally present in your area, you can establish a type of wind electricity or wind energy system. Then disadvantages, wind is not uniform everywhere. Okay, wind is not uniform everywhere. Then we have, in many cases, wind turbines are noisy. Latest technology is reducing it, but still there is a chance of some sort of sound pollution, and the wind will not be uniform. And capacity of wind turbine is less. Okay, efficiency is less compared to some other sources of energy. That's what we have said, less efficiency, about 30%. So it has a efficiency similar to that of solar energy. Okay, so that's all about wind energy, another important renewable energy. And as of now, we have already discussed solar energy, tidal energy, geothermal energy, hydroelectric energy, and wind energy. Five major type of renewable energy resources have been already discussed in this video. We have some more to discuss, especially nuclear energy. We'll be discussing that in the coming videos. So friends, that's all about this video on renewable energy resources, an important topic from our people development and environment. I hope you are clear with this topic. If you have any doubts, you can post it in the comment section. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. And if you would like to know more about Diksha, you can visit our website www.dikshaclassroom.com. That's all from this video. We'll see you tomorrow, same time. Thank you.